All right, welcome to Football Focus Weekly on a special Thursday night edition. I hope everybody's doing all right with all the storms and everything that was going on yesterday. It was crazy. A lot of people still don't have power, including, our first guest that was going to be Coach Vereen. He still doesn't have power, so we're going to change the show lineup a little bit tonight. But I'm the Pet Man, Matt Morrow. Our show is brought to you by, as always, by Mise en Place Collective for all your food consulting needs and much more. Make sure you visit mepcollective.com. Also, our CFI Spring Showcase, we're going to talk about it at the end of the show tonight, but Saturday, May 18th, limited spots available at all positions. I'm telling you, if you want to be a part of this, and if you're watching this and you've got a high school player, maybe your son that's a really good player that's interested, doesn't have enough recruiting attention, this is the place you want to be. $99. Make sure you sign up, SeanFootballInsiders.com. Defensive line is sold out already, and we are very limited at other positions. Quarterback is down to the last 2 or 3 spots. And I think we're getting close on linebacker as well. So make sure you go sign up. Tell somebody. We have group rates available. Several schools across the state are taking advantage of the group rates. At least 5 players, it's only $50 a player. So you save 50% off the registration price. Almost 30 colleges have confirmed. Other colleges have been reaching out, wanting to come. I also spoke to a vendor who is going to be there with the tables, offering some cool deals on some merchandise as well. So the last few days before registration closes are always the busiest because people, realize at the last minute, they can make it. They have plans change, things of that nature. So make sure you go sign up, SeanFootballInsiders.com, and get in on this wonderful opportunity to promote yourself in front of a ton of college coaches, as well as getting on pictures, video, interviews, and of course, Prep Red Zone write-ups by yours truly. All right, start the show tonight. We've got 3 guys here. Of course, we got Adam Big Eye Shelby Weber. How you doing, Adam?
What's going on, Pep?
Not much, man. Glad to have you. Head coach Robert Washington, Mountain Island. You doing all right, Coach?
Mount, great, Pep. Great.
Awesome. And then, of course, the producer is here.
The one and only.
Good to see you, sir.
Glad to be here.
Kim Watts is always here. Appreciate you. And then her son is in the showcase as well. So, all right.
My son plays for Butler, don't he?
Barry.
Okay.
Defensive lineman. Talented, too.
Let me write that down.
Okay. That's going to be a segment 2. That's going to be segment 2. We're going to start talking about 2 hires. We were off last week, and 2 hires were made. Butler has hired Glenwood Ferebee as the head coach, and North Meck has hired Darryl Vereen as their head coach. 2 kind of different hires, different circumstances around them. Let's start with Butler. Glenwood Ferebee, obviously a lot of us watching this show or on this show know him very well. Won 2 state titles at Chambers, was very close to winning the 3rd state title at Chambers. Really strong resume. Obviously, he had success at Virginia. He was the director of high school relations at Virginia Tech University for a couple of years. Just thoughts. We'll go around. What's your thoughts on Coach Ferb getting hired at Butler?
I think it was a slam dunk hire. Ferb finished his career at Chambers. He was 39-5. First couple seasons he won a state championship. So first 2 seasons he won a state championship. So Ferb has a great track record of jumpstarting programs, setting a culture, bringing in a winning mentality, and just shifting that energy. And Butler already had a great culture, and you can also see him still hanging out with Coach Brian Hales, picking his brains. So I think he's doing it the right way, man. He's still mixing, the old coach. He's still coming around along with adding in his new philosophies. So I think it's a slam dunk hire. Shout out to Coach Chris Shadowfield, the AD at Butler. I don't think they could have brought a better hire in.
All right, there you go. Big Eye, what you think?
Congratulations to those guys, man. We'll see them pretty soon.
I figured you weren't gonna say too much. Producer, what's your thoughts on Ferb coming to Butler?
Awesome hire. I mean, I think it's a guy, proven track record, like you said, multiple championships already, success in Virginia, pretty much had immediate success here. I think it's a good match. You're taking a successful coach with a proven track record and pairing him with a school that already has some pieces in place. So, just get him in the kitchen and let him cook. I think it's a great match.
There you go. And I'll go solo for my thoughts. Me and producer, we were with well, they were known as Vance back then, but we were with them a good bit during those two championship runs. Especially I remember the game down at Richmond. It was a huge crowd, and it was probably Richmond's last real good team. And it was a tight game in the first half, and they came out second half and made some great adjustments. And Austin Greer was quarterback, and they were just carving Richmond up. Richmond just stayed in man coverage, and they were running man beaters all over the field. And their great talent, was winning against those DBs. And Coach Ferb and that staff put on a clinic that night offensively, and then of course defensively, led by Power Eccles. And they were just, lights out in that second half against that Richmond spread option. So the interesting thing to me is a lot of those coaches have come with Ferb down to Butler. And when you've got a synergy and you see something like that, it makes you feel like, this is, brewing, something special that could happen. And I think that eliminates some of that transition period you get where you're trying to install things and you got, new guys working together on their new head coach. But when you got that synergy there, it just makes things easier. You put that together with the talent Butler has returning, especially offensively. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch and see how fast they can coalesce and get off to a good start, because they have a heck of a preseason non-conference schedule. If you haven't seen it, they've got Rolesville, they've got Irmo coming up, and they've got Weddington along with Richmond County. I mean, that is a tough stretch to test yourself before you're going into one of the best conferences in the state. So, kudos to Ferb. I've talked with him. He's kind of trying to get settled right now in Charlotte. We're hoping to have him on the show soon. And I'm hoping to get out to Butler soon and continue on, some of the spring practice stuff that I've been doing, visiting different schools, and get out and see those guys and catch up with Coach Ferb and that staff and, see how they're doing overall. All right. So then we've got North Mecklenburg. And as I said to start the show, we were going to have Coach Vereen on, but, because of the storms yesterday, he still didn't have power at his house. So I told him, we'll hold off. We'll do it next week. But Coach Vereen getting the North Meck job, I think it's a really, really good hire. He's worked his way up. He was a defensive coordinator under Coach McKee, for those that don't know. So it's kind of a promotion for him. What do you guys think about Coach Vereen at North Meck?
I think that's a good hire. I think anytime you get a former player to be able to come back and coach as a coordinator, and then to be able to take over as the head coach, you don't have to. One thing you have to worry about is establishing a culture, because he's been there, so he knew what it was when he was there. He was very successful when he was there, so it's gonna be good for the kids to be able to see somebody that done it, went to school, came back, and is able to give back. So it's always great. It's always great when you see former players or programs get those opportunities to be head coaches.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Coach Dub, what's your thoughts?
Man, like I said before they actually made a hire, I thought that was a good fit for that program. I spoke to a couple people around the program, and what I gather is a lot of optimistic around that program. They're anxious right now. I would tell everybody, warn everybody, just to be patient with Coach Vereen. This is his first coaching gig. Even though he he was a superstar, 3-sport star at North Meck. He still needs to build his culture. It's not going to be like the previous culture, even though he was on the staff. But give him time. I think if he's given the right time, I think his influence is already felt through the hallways. From what I hear, he's a player's coach. Just give him time, and I think he's going to build something special at North Meck.
Absolutely. Producer, what you got?
Always good to see a good in-house hire, man. This, born and bred North Meck. So like you said, the culture's already there. There's not going to be any starting over, period. But kind of like what Dub said, every good coach, great coach, legendary coach had a starting point. They needed their opportunity. They had to start somewhere. So this is his shot, and I think it's also another great hire, and looking forward to see how things go, seeing the growth.
Absolutely, man. I'll just share this. When I coached a few years ago, well, more than a few years ago, when we played and tried to stop Darryl Vereen at running back, that guy was one of the best running backs in Mecklenburg County history. I don't know what the stats are and all that, but he's flat out one of the best running backs in history of Mecklenburg County. And he's a great guy. I really enjoy talking to him. He'll be working at our CFI showcase, coaching linebackers. So if you haven't ever met him before, I always welcome people to come out to the camp. Come on out to the camp. You can meet him, talk with him. Really personable. Coach Dub said, he's a player's coach. He's an energetic guy. I think he did a really good job as defensive coordinator under Coach McKee. Those North Meck teams were tough, and that defense was a big reason why they were able to beat West Charlotte in that finale last year and get into the playoffs. So he knows what he's doing schematically on defense. I did make a post that he's looking for an offensive coordinator. So if you're watching this and you are an offensively gifted coach, or of an offensively gifted coach that might be looking to be a coordinator, you can reach out to him on Twitter. His email and his phone number is also in the post that I made. I'll retweet that. But I think he'd be a great guy to work with. If I had the time and was looking to be an OC, I'd definitely reach out to him. So, but I think it's a great hire. It's good to have a North Meck alum at North Meck leading the program. Whenever you're an alum and you're coaching at a place, as I'm sure Big I can attest to, it's different. It's special when you're at your school that you played at. So I expect some big things from North Meck here in the coming years for sure. All right, so we got some comments here. Chat administrator's here. He says he thinks we'll see some news from Mooresville very soon. Oh, okay. We've heard some different rumors about, which way Mooresville might go. So we'll see, what domino falls there. Nikisha is here. Nice to see you, Nikisha, as always. One of the CFI big fans out there. And Karen Belk, always another big CFI fan.
Miss Belk, how you doing, Miss Belk? How you doing?
Yeah. Thank you for checking us out. And, I got to say this. Thank you for promoting us, because, it was so cool to see on Facebook that, we remember 2 weeks ago, we talked about the whole soccer situation where the official walked off the field. And Molly Grantham, was the one that reported that. She used to be a WBTV reporter. Well, she ended up watching our segment and ended up watching the whole show and gave us a shout out. And that was pretty cool. That was pretty good. And Karen Belk, if you hadn't tagged me and shared that, we would never have that recognition or that moment. So thank you so much, for what you do and supporting us and when we try to, promote kids out here. Let's see. Zach says, have you guys heard any news? Well, yes, we have. But we cannot share that news publicly. So
chat administrator just left a comment, another one.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go, Zach. I hope you see that. He is a very trusted source on Mooresville. I can confirm that. So there you go. Solo Steve's the guy that made our song on the regular show. They got slimming down.
My boy, hey boy, I ain't seen you in a minute. Hopefully, I might get to see him soon now. I see he trying to get the he might follow Ferb and them over there down the road.
Oh, really?
He said he was looking into being the PA announcer. So
okay.
If you slim down, you'll just be I.
Nah, man, the big is a lifestyle, baby. It's a lifestyle, man. This is how we live, man. The big ride, no. It's just in our blood, man. We only know one way, man. All we know is one way.
That is hilarious. Coach Marsh checking in. Also, D-line coach at the spring showcase. So make sure you check him out. And we've got a ton of defensive linemen. Oh man, I think we might be up to 50. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. So if you know some offensive linemen, please encourage them to sign up because that's going to be a workout. That's going to be a workout, man. All right. Let's see. Okay, Zach. I would say DM the chat administrator. and you'll see what he'd be willing to share with you. So we can't share it on this platform. So that's what I'll tell you. All right. Yeah, it's time. All right. So when we come back here on WDRB Media, you want to sit down and you want to get your popcorn ready because we are going to talk about player movement. And every time we talk about player movement, things get interesting on the show and on social media. So hang tight with us. We'll be back here on Football Focus Weekly on WDRB Media, the voice of the community. All right, we're back, and we're going to talk about player movement in Charlotte. And I saw something interesting on social media from High School OT. High School OT is now tracking player transfers. When I first saw it, I said, I couldn't believe it. But that's where we are now. So if you go to highschoolot.com, they are doing articles and updating player transfers across the state. Now, we know in Charlotte that player movement happens. I mean, it's inevitable. You know, parents are going to do what they think is best for their kids, whether it's moving an apartment or finding other means to get their kids to certain schools. So first of all, I'm going to go to Coach Doug. And I know you guys don't get a lot of player movement going on over there, but you have had players that have left Mountain Island and gone to other schools. How do you handle those conversations and situations with parents?
The best thing to do is just support the kid, support the family. You know, if they feel like that's what's best for them, all you can do is just support them. The one thing that I always try to warn, not just the families that leave, but also with the transfer portal in college. I literally just had a college coach tell me this. He said that they're looking at players' movement because if they're moving good programs, like we have a great program, we got everything that a player would need, but if they're leaving good programs and going to other programs just to be seen, they'll probably do the same thing in college because you got the transfer portal. Those players are going to be adapt because you start creating habits. When you start moving around, because it's something to be said to stay at a program and build that program through the ups and downs, face the adversity, wins, losses, and you take a program and put it on your back and bring it up versus going somewhere and riding the wave and front running. College coaches are looking at that, and some kids are wondering like, dang, I'm not getting the recruiting I feel like I need. That's because they're looking at your movement in high school, man. Some of these kids, Pep, is getting bad out here. Kids have been going to 2, 3, 4 high schools. I mean, how much movement can you do? And lastly, Pep, and I know you didn't ask me this question, but I literally tweeted this out the other day. It's differences. I've been a parent that's moved my kid before. So I went through it as a parent. I've gone through it as a coach. The thing is, it's a difference between parents picking the best decision for their kids because that's what they want to do and they want to move, which no one should have anything to say about a parent doing what's best for their kids. But then it's also the subliminal, indirect recruiting that some of these coaches are doing by entertaining these non-committable offers, which will probably be a segment within itself. But I have a problem with that. You're recruiting kids by saying, hey, well, come over here. You see all these offers these kids get. But none of the kids can commit to the offers. None of them. So what happens is at the end of the day, it just hurts the families. It hurts the kids. Like literally, I got a kid on my roster that he could be tweeting out, I got my 8th offer from so-and-so college, but I refuse to allow that kid to tweet out any of those non-committable offers. I told him, I said, listen, wait till you go to camp. You go to camp, you show out, and they offer you in camp. Then I want you to tweet out that stuff. But it's plenty of coaches that come by and say, hey, we'll throw them this. But I'm like, what is that? A glorified camp invite. So, when you play those games, man, the only person hurts is the kids. And it's sad.
Yeah, that's well said, man. Well said. Now, here's a question that I want to pose to everybody. When should a player change schools?
I would say when your situation at your new school is going to be better. So, like if you're, deep in the depth chart, maybe you're a rising junior and there's some people in the same class as you. It's just a crowded backfield, crowded wide receiver room, and maybe the a guy that's maybe even under you or what have you. This you might not get as much time as you think, and you're going to get more time somewhere than like a quarterback. We've seen quarterbacks, maybe they're the same grade as the starter, and they're a backup, and they want to go somewhere and start. Makes perfect sense. If you got aspirations of playing college football, you need film, you need to be on the field. So if your situation that you're moving to, if your production is going to go up, to me, that's when you should move. We've seen players who are maybe starters at, let's call them decent programs. Not a bad team, not an elite team, but decent. Maybe kind of middle of the pack type of team. Go to these quote unquote elite schools, and now their playing time is diminished. They're on a better team, but their production has dropped off. To me, that's not a good move. If you're on a better team, but you're producing less, you're getting less carries, less catches, you're relegated to special teams, to me, that wasn't a good move. So your situation needs to improve if you're going to move.
Solo Steves with a comment says when he's having to play out of his natural position to fill a need.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to touch on that. I agree. I think you definitely need to make the move whenever, like Solo Steve said, when they have you playing out of position to fill a need. However, now that may happen for 1 year, but if coaches are telling you or coaches are trying to pitch you and say, hey, okay, this guy plays defensive end for us, but he's probably going to be a linebacker at the next level. At some point, as a coaching staff, we need to put him at linebacker so he can showcase his talent to people, say, hey, this kid can play linebacker, he goes from linebacker field. I think with transfers, man, you got to look at the situations, man. I've been in schools where you have situations where kids transfer for the wrong reasons and some kids transfer for the right reasons. Like, I think the biggest position may be like quarterback or skill position. If you're looking at it right and you have, you come in, you may have 4 sophomore quarterbacks and 2 of them on varsity and 2 of them on JV. At some point, you need to look at like, okay, well, I might need to make a move if I'm trying to play varsity quarterback somewhere. Or look at running back. Maybe you may have running backs or linebackers. You may have multiple guys in the same position, and half of them are on varsity and the other half is on JV. So now you're like, okay, well, I don't think that's a bad move if I want to potentially move from a good program to another program where I can be a starter and have impact and make sure I get the most out of my high school career. I also know, like, a lot of kids, sometimes kids move based off parent decisions. Like, some parents may get divorces or some parent may get new jobs, so they just kind of pick where they want to go, and they say, okay, well, I want to go here. Then it end up being a good situation for some and a harder situation for others. But yeah, but I think a lot of kids hop in the portal and try to transfer because of the wrong reason sometimes. And some, just like college, some kids hop in and don't do their research, and you end up going somewhere, and you're like, okay, well, I came here, I thought I was going to play. Now you stuck here. And then, like what Coach Rob said, kids are going to 3 or 4 schools and like they're juniors and seniors, and when college coaches come to recruit you, they say, "Hey, let me get his transcript." And it's like 3 or 4 schools on there, and they're gonna figure out why this kid keep going from place to place to place to place. So yeah, I think a lot of people with the position thing, I think that's more so happens at bigger schools, but at smaller schools it affects. So like in somewhere like a Shelby, where we may have a kid playing both sides of the ball, but you may say, "Hey, this kid may be better suited at this position." So you have to make sure the position that he's better suited for, that he has to film on, or he's getting an opportunity to play that junior or senior year, so coaches can see him.
Hey, Pep, and I want to say that I want to answer that question is the best time to move or the transfer is when you move. Don't transfer because of football, because I know it's the glitz and glamour, and we're living into if I'm not happy here, I move there. But at the end of the day, and I think everybody on this panel will tell you, very rarely does a high school transfer work out. And what I mean by that, everybody's consumed by workout because they're bigger name kids that's good anywhere, right? But let's be honest, most of the kids that's transferring is the average kids that's not really good. And they're going to programs sitting on the bench. Literally, I had a situation a couple years ago. I won't say the kid's name, but I had a kid that ended up transferring. Kid was a superstar for us. Ended up winning like one of our best players for that particular season. And the kid ended up transferring to one school, then transferred to another, and he sat in the bench. And for me as a coach, I didn't get a reward in that. I was hurting with the kid. And the kid didn't know it. Like I'm sitting back like, God, they ain't playing this kid. But I understood that he made a bad decision. You get what I'm saying? So what we're not paying attention to is the transfers don't work. So if we was able to do a percentage, it's only a small percentage of transfers that actually transfer from one school to another school that actually works. And that means more than likely those kids are dogs. Like some of the big name kids we know going from this school to that school, it's going to work out because they're dogs. But what about that kid that's a little above average or might think they're better than what they are, so they're going to another team to get exposure? But I warn you, is when you're seeking for exposure, it's 2 ways to that. You get exposed or exposure.
And I was going to say sometimes you're better off staying on what we call maybe a tier 2 team, a team that's maybe right below the elites in the city, like when we do the rankings and shining, then you are maybe going to one of the top teams and just kind of being in the mix of being part of a rotation. So, yeah, you go into a team it gets a lot of scouts and stuff there, but your production might not be what it be if you just stay where you are and shine and start or whatever. So sometimes it's better just to stay where you are.
Absolutely. So I will say this. I think there's 2 big reasons on when you should move schools. One being you need to get on the field and get film, because that's the only way you're going to get recruited is if you have varsity film. And I'll tell you this. There are a lot of kids that want to get noticed. They want to get written about on Prep Red Zone. They want to do the interviews that I've been doing during spring practice. But then when you go and you look at them, you look at their Twitter profile. Well, number one, if they don't have a Twitter profile, that's a red flag. But that's a whole nother story. But if you look at their Twitter profile and they have JV film up, it's like nobody's evaluating you off JV film. You got to go get varsity film. So, and I think, producer, you said it. If you got a couple guys ahead of you and you feel like you're a pretty good player, you need to move and go get on the field as a starter and produce and get varsity film so you can get evaluated the right way. The other part of this, or number 2 reason, is if you're in a situation where the scheme doesn't fit what you do best. And we've kind of said this before. If you're a really talented quarterback, or you feel like you're a good quarterback and you've been evaluated as such, and you play in a system that runs the ball 90-95% of the time, you might want to consider moving programs. Or if you're a really talented wide receiver and you're in a run-first program, you might want to consider moving programs to showcase your skills a little bit better. But those 2 situations I think are the ones that you can consider player movement. Solo Steez has a good comment here. He says, what about toxic program culture or dysfunctional coaching staffs?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You definitely should leave and get out of there because it's not beneficial towards the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest reason why kids transfer or stay where they at is because of the culture and the environment and how the coaches act and conduct themselves on and off the field.
And reasons to leave toxic culture go beyond even football. Just think about that too.
Yeah. That's usually a reflection of an overall school culture.
The school, absolutely.
And you don't want to be a part of that. And if you can find a way out, you get out. But I will say this, and I think you guys will agree with this. If you're looking to leave a program, talk to those coaches. Let them know what you're feeling. And maybe it's something that you might have misconceived. Maybe it's something in not being communicated. But I think you would at least owe them that. And like you said, Rob, if you really support the kid, you're not going to fight it. I mean, you're going to say, good luck to you. I wish you the best. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know.
A good coach is going to be honest. A good coach is going to look at you and say, you know what? You might be better off where you're thinking about going. You might shine a little more, So a good coach, a good mentor is always going to be honest with you.
Yeah, because I always tell kids that I've impacted or know of or maybe family members with from different places. I'll tell them, like, look, man, if you're thinking about leaving or you're thinking about what your situation going to be for your upcoming season, I say any good coach or any good man should be able to sit down with you and your family and say, look, this is what our plan is. This is what our plan is for your son. This is how we're going to get there. If the coach's plan and your plan don't match up, say, look, Coach, well, I'm going to be honest with you, Coach. We think about potentially moving here. I just want to let you know first before you head through the grapevine. And I think as a coach, if me and a parent are able to sit down and talk, you see some coaches that want to block kids transfers. Like if I'm able to come to your office, sit down, talk to you about things, and it may not, and like y'all said, it may not even be the coach itself. It may just be the school that they're at. They just want a better environment. If I'm able to sit down and tell you, like, look, this is what I'm thinking about doing, or potentially we may be leaving or we are leaving, as a coach and as a man of the school he's leaving, you should be able to say, okay, look, I appreciate you for coming to talk to me. I wish you the best. And let me know how I can help you moving forward. But sometimes a lot of coaches, unfortunately, that a lot of coaches don't do that for their kids.
Well, another thing too, let me say this, is I seen a tweet out there that says, because I hear it a lot, especially in this area, people stealing our kids. Well, call the cops. Report it. These listen, and that's the sad thing about it is, and just going back to this functional coaching and stuff like that, it's proper protocol to everything. Because remember, while we're teaching football, as parents and coaches, we're also teaching life. So if a kid doesn't like something, have that kid set up a meeting with their coach. Sit down with the coach. Let the coach know. And any coach that's worth anything is going to sit down with that kid and hear him out. Listen to him. And because that allows the coach to say, you know what, maybe I can do something better because it's coming from the player perspective. But if you just teaching these kids just the back door, hit the back door and stuff like that, you're not teaching them a good life skill. Because let's be real, how many dysfunctional situations will that kid see in adulthood? How many quality, like bad situations will they be at work? No matter if that's work, no matter if that's a relationship, no matter if that's a marriage, whatever the case may be. And some of these kids don't have coping skills because we're teaching them just soon as they see something they don't like, they're leaving. No, sometimes you got to go to the source, work it out, because those are skills that they're going to need in their toolkit for life. So just be careful about, the dysfunctional situation. Sometimes it might not be dysfunction, it might be miscommunication.
Yeah. And I said it a few weeks ago, Pat, man. A lot of these coaches get upset when kids leave, man. It's just like dating, man. You're doing something wrong, and they don't want to stay there no more. They don't want to stay there no more. And you need to look at yourself in the mirror as a coach or coaching staff and try to figure out how you can change things. Just like dating, man. Married men, married women, they see other women, they see other men. If they're gonna cheat, it's because they cheating because it's something that they lacking. It ain't
let
nothing. You gotta let them go. It's nothing. Like I said, Pep, you and Rob married. Y'all see women every day. Your wives see women every day. It's some reason why they keep coming back home to you.
Yeah, listen.
It's a reason. You know what I'm saying?
But,
Same thing with the kids. Kids that go through school, they'll take the hard coaching, they'll take the punishment, and they'll come back every day and do it over and over again because it's something keeping in there that they love. When that kid or parents say, I'm gone, it's something somewhere else that's attracting them that they like that you ain't doing no more. So just let them go.
Yeah,
it makes you look bad as a coach saying, nah, I'm going to block that transfer. You're not going nowhere. Because now you basically telling kids, if I leave for a better opportunity, I don't got your blessing or your support. Just let them go, man. Just let them go.
Because the mentality I had and remark I made this a couple shows before was Project Pat. Don't save them. Don't save them. Because this is the thing. 9 times out of 10, they're like TLC searching for waterfalls. I'm telling you. I see it. So
you gotta let them go.
you gotta let them go, because what happens with any good relationship, if a person leaves that relationship and goes to someone else, how many times had that person tried to get back with that person because it wasn't what they thought it was? So you gotta let them go. And support their decision. Don't try to block it. Support them. And then this is the toughest thing, coaches out there. Make sure you still support that kid, because regardless if they're playing for us or the other's team, we are in the kids' business. We have to support them, whether we can use them or we can't use them. We're supposed to be coaches.
Because, like, man, I know, like, to this day, man, I remember when I was at Shelby, I had one of my favorite players, Cam Anderson, transfer and go to Crest. I still supported them. Like, you have to still support, because as a coach, you can't keep everybody. Kids going to leave, parents going to move, whatever. As long as the kid is happy, we're grown men in this coaching business. There should be no reason why we beefing with a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid because he decided to go somewhere else and play.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Imagine going home and saying, wife say, how was your day? Man, I'm mad. What you mad at? Little Johnny over here. Johnny 14. Johnny did this. Man, you 40 years old, man. Let him go.
Yeah.
Just let them go, man. And just support them. And look, when you play, and if you play against them and you see them, they have a good game. Hey, man, good game, man. I'm happy. I'm happy you thrive. And just keep it moving. Just keep it moving, man. You ain't got to hate, man. Just let kids go. At the end of the day, like Rob say, if they make a bad decision, they're going to call you back and tell you, hey, man, I made a bad decision, but I'm a man. I just got to live with it. Okay, cool. Hey, I'm still happy for you regardless. If you need help going to school, any camps, just let me know. That's all you got to do.
Good comments here from Deidre. Another dedicated fan. has to be treated as a business decision, because when done the right way, it's expensive. No, that's a key. If done the right way, that's a whole other pot of neck bones right there. Motion has to be removed. Is it the best business decision? Don't follow people, follow opportunity. Good.
For sure. Biggest thing, don't follow people, follow opportunity. She hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah, because the way it is, people change.
And like
people
think about it. And think about it. A coach, if I'm moving to another school, it may be a financial decision. Don't you follow me because I'm moving because I'm trying to get my money because I got kids, I got bills. You moving to play. I'm moving to get paid. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, but kids will follow. But I think one of the greatest things that I was told as a young coach when I first started, they say, I mean, it's hard not to. They said, never get attached to a certain group of kids because these kids are going to change every year. They're going to go, and there's going to be another group that you got to help, you got to mentor, and got to develop. Mm-hmm. So if you get caught on just trying to stick with one group, you'll never be able to help the next group that comes through you.
And y'all know this too, because a lot we got to. I won't say the name again. I won't stir up no trouble. But the thing is, we got coaches out here recruiting kids to their school, and they're applying for every big name job that comes open. Ooh, shots fired, right? But at the end of the day, it's not really shot fired because if you're sitting out here actively, and I'm not saying the coach is actively recruiting, but you're trying to get kids into your school, and then you're applying for jobs, and then you know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of tacky because most of these coaches, not most of them, certain coaches are trying to use these kids as come up. They're trying to use their talents as come up. They're not developing anybody. All they're doing is getting kids to come to their school and they're front running versus actually developing and coaching. Because you see a big change in high school coaches, because I've been one of those coaches that developed a kid already to a certain point, and then that kid leaves and the coach didn't do nothing with the kid. The damn kid signs with the same school he got at my school. You get what I'm saying? So it's just different, but it's a tough situation, and I feel like we should go back to making it all about the kids.
It's funny that your comments have spurred several text messages on my phone. So I believe there are several coaches viewing the show tonight. Thank you for watching, coaches.
Hey, man, didn't it be bad where, like, coaches, like how you say, coaches recruit kids to schools, they leave apostle. Well, now the new coach stuck with kids he ain't even want. And now you got a bigger problem.
Let's see. Andy Rodden checking in. Nice to see you, Andy. When I was coaching, I had to coach what we had in the building. If they leave, they leave. If they don't want to be there, then be gone. Now that's true. That's true right there. If they don't want to be there, even if they're talented or not, they're not going to be as good to you as they would if they want to go away.
When it means something to them, man, you gotta be all in, man.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting comments coming in. Let's put Karen. So Karen says, just don't like schools that are doing fine, trying to recruit the best players away from schools where the coaches have worked long and hard with them. Overheard at a game of a school promising they can play multiple sports, and the kids already playing multiple sports. Now that goes into what we've talked about before with undue influence. And this is a good question I want to ask right here. There's a fine line between trying to advise a kid what they should do best versus recruiting them to a school. And I think some of this gets disguised as trying to help a kid when it's really undue influence of trying to pull kids into specific programs.
Man, I'll tell you this. So if a kid reaches out to me, the first thing I do is reach out to the head coach. And I'll tell them, like, hey, they need some advice. Maybe we could consult together, or maybe whatever the kid needs from me, I'll tell the head coach, like, hey, they're looking for this. I got several brothers that I coach, the coach in the area that we got a good chat, and I let them know, like, hey, player X just reached out to me on Facebook. He wanted to know more about this. I'm going to send you the information. You get it to him. It's just proper etiquette, man. And one thing I see a lot is it's not any proper etiquette no more with coaching. It's no code of conduct. It's no, and most importantly, like, it's no morals in this game anymore. We're just trying to recruit kids to win now, when you damage a relationship that should last 20, 30 years. Because what people don't realize is that, burnt bridges, man, they're terrible. You can't go back 20, 30 years. You never know when you need somebody. So it's always good to keep a good relationship, keep your name clean or whatever. And I mean, as coaches, you're going to get dirt on your name, right? But
no matter what,
it's going to happen. People aren't going to, especially if you're a head coach, people aren't going to like you. Just that they're not going to like you. But at the end of the day, you try to keep your name clean. And if kids reach out to you, I actually had one of my peers that was in my conference. We had a kid that transferred to the school. He reached out. He said, Coach, I just want to let you know this kid reached out. Kid got in our lottery. Kid got selected. And I said, you know what? I wish that kid nothing but the best. The very next day, dap the kid up. It's all love. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way it should be. We don't own kids against popular belief. These aren't just our kids. We got to support when people make the best decision and do what's best for these kids.
Absolutely. Last word on the topic. Kim Watts says, I've had the same conversation with many people about why we choose to keep my son at Berry. Books first, then ball. And I will say this, Berry is a very good academic school. I wish Berry was around when I came up, because I would have went there. As crazy as that sounds, being a Harding guy, but they just offer a really great academic experience. So there you go. All right, great topic. When we come back on Football Focus Weekly on CFI, on WDRB Media, we're going to discuss the best teams so far through the spring. A certain publication released a way too early poll, and it's just way too early to talk about. So we'll be right back here on Football Focus Weekly on WDRB Media, the voice of the community.
Ooh.
All right, we're back, and we're going to talk about, for about 10 minutes, we're going to talk about the best Charlotte metro area teams so far coming out of the spring. And I'll reference, I don't have the screenshot, but a certain local publication posted a ranking that is way too early. And just for disclosure, I don't post any Charlotte rankings until after August 1st. The reason why is what we just talked about. Player movement. A couple players going here or there can make a big difference in a team's outlook. But the consensus was in this listing. I'll just name some schools off, and then you guys can kind of chime in. Obviously, Big I, who's right below me, Independence, is one of the top teams in the area, along with Butler, who we talked about earlier with Coach Ferg coming in. Weddington, the returning state champs, of course. Providence Day with Chad Greer. I think we had a comment about Chad Greer. What was that comment at? I think that was Solo Steve's. Where are we? Let's put that on the screen. It says, if I can be an agitator for a second, the Chad Greer boogeyman got everybody getting their programs together right now. What do you think about that? All right. Well, Solo Steve's will let that hang in the atmosphere, but I did want to mention that because you put it on there. But then you got J.M. Robinson in Cabarrus County. I talked to Coach Seidel today. By the way, now let me go solo on this. Now J.M. Robinson players, you guys are upset that I didn't get over there. Look, man, I didn't know Cabarrus County ended their spring practice season early because they end school early. I had plans to get over there next week, but you guys are done with spring practice. So I'm going to be out there in the summer. Don't be mad at me, please. Coach, look, I drove to Blythewood, South Carolina for Coach Seidel. I have no problem with coming and seeing you guys. So just hang tight. That's my bad. I thought I had more time. I'm sorry. But anyway, so best schools in the area. What do you guys think? I mean, I obviously Mountain Island, I think obviously is one of the best 1A programs around. But general thoughts, anybody?
I think we got to start off with, like Ric Flair said, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. You got to start off with Weddington and to prove it otherwise. And then it's some up-and-coming programs. But I think it's a log jam right there for 2 and 3. You got Independence coming up. Consistent voice, you got Butler. Like, watch out for Butler. Everyone knows that Coach Ferb is going to do a phenomenal job. He hasn't missed in his first 2 years. And then you got schools like Huff. I don't think people talk enough about Huff. Huff has been a constant, and you talk about Coach Baker going into his second year of having a full year, which is really underrated of building his program and adding one more brick to his culture for his program. But also, I think a dark horse that people are sleeping on is Mallard Creek. You can never count Mallard Creek out. I think Coach Tinsley has gotten through the Coach P stages where, just building his own culture. And I think you're going to start seeing that this program this year start taking the shape of Coach Tinsley. So don't sleep on Mallard Creek.
I'm going to speak on Mallard Creek because I was there earlier today, and I talked to Coach Tinsley, and he is really, really confident about that group. They have 40 seniors. That is a lot. And those guys have been with him. They've grown in that program. So the biggest thing he said, and if you hadn't seen, I put the interview up on social media, but if you haven't seen it, he said the biggest thing they need to do is be more consistent. He referenced the fact that they beat Independence in the season opener, and they took the number 5 team, all the way to the end last year in that big game at Mallard Creek. So they have the talent, they have the ability, but he said they've got to be consistent in their abilities to reach, all the potential that they have. But go ahead.
And they have the speed. Listen,
yeah.
The only team to beat my 4x1, 4x2 team this year was Mallard Creek, and they're like ranked in the nation. They have the
Wow.
speed. They're legit.
Yeah. And I mean, I've talked with different people about, just that team and what they could do. And, just watching them, they're still at track, but the other guys that they have is still fast. So, it's a lot of talent over there. In the comments, Chat Administrator says he's not happy with Lake Norman over Mooresville in a certain publication, but that's the rivalry. Let's see. Joe Hughes, what's up, Joe? Checking in, says felt like Mallard Creek was there. Yeah, that's what exactly. Me and Tinsley talked about that today. We sure did. Come on, big guy.
Hey, Pet, what happened?
Y'all were the first team I said, man.
Hey, Pet, what happened week 1? Can you remind Cuz? What happened? Cuz, what happened week 1?
Hey, it's a new year, man. That's like me asking them what happened in Watauga. It's irrelevant now, man. All that's irrelevant now. It's a new season, man. It's a new season, man. All we're doing over there on Patriot Drive is working to get better each and every day, man. That's all we're doing.
Hey, you see how my cousin matured.
We're not worried about any other program, any other coaches. We just worrying about ourselves, our program, our kids, our school. That's all we're worrying about, man. Just trying to get better. Us versus us every day.
I'm proud of you, man. That came along.
We're not worried about no rankings, none of that stuff, man. All of that handle itself in August through November and December.
Because I'm proud of you, because last year you would have went in.
You heard what he said. Remember what he said now. We're not worried about no rankings. Remember that. Remember he said that. We got this recorded. Remember he said that, right? Keep that clip. We're not worried about no rankings.
I'm going to tell you what's funny. So when I go do these spring practice visits, I love talking to the coaches. And I swear, every place I've been, it's been a different response. Some coaches say, okay, now don't rank us too high now. And I said, what I said this year to a certain coach was, y'all not using me this year. Because when I ranked y'all low, like you said, y'all went and posted it in the locker room.
Right. It was
made me into a villain. So I said, no, I'm not ranking you low. I'm not. No, sir. But anyways, Jonathan Mitchell says, Huff is looking solid. Tough first game versus Northwestern will be interesting. Yeah,
that would be a great game.
Yeah, I've talked to Coach Baker. I'm going to try to get up to Huff sometime within the next 2 weeks. I tried to get up there once, but they weren't practicing that day. I tried, so I do want to get up there. There's a lot of talent on that team. I know Coach Doug, you just mentioned them.
When's the last time Huff didn't look solid?
Well, yeah,
that's a good question.
True.
Been quite a while.
Hey, but y'all know something who don't get the credit they deserve is Coach Sullivan, Coach Chachi Sullivan. Coach Chachi is DC. He's been a constant since going back to Coach Bobby Collins, and he keeps that program and coaching good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's right though. He was spot on. They definitely looking solid. He was right for sure.
That reminds me, and this is it's appropriate you mention that because this is a Cherie memory, and I remember Cherie went down to the stadium and Huff beat Chambers in a big game, and she did an interview with Chachi, and Chachi likes to call me out for some reason. I don't know why, but he told me in that interview that I shouldn't have picked against him. And he made it up because we didn't pick that game. But that's what I'm talking about. They try to use us as motivation, but that ain't happening this year. That ain't happening. Just watch. I'll tell you. But yeah, solo Steez. Charlotte is stacked. Yeah, I made a comment the other day. There are senior quarterbacks all over the place. And when you got senior quarterbacks, that makes a lot of things easier. And it makes things really flow better offensively. And Charlotte kind of went through a dip a little bit. But I think it's back. And this is going to be a big year for Charlotte football at all levels. Coach, even your quarterback, senior Grayson Harvey. I know you're excited about that.
I love it. Love it.
There you go. All right. Let's see. More comments coming in. Oh, man, we could talk. I'm going to have to do this topic again. So Steve throwing out some love for Independence. Hell of a coaching staff, great kids.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree.
Yeah, man, that's all we doing, man. We was undersized, man. So we just been in the weight room hitting it harder this year, man. That's all, man.
You about to be undersized too.
Yep. Can't wait to get back out. Got to bring the energy, man. Hey, coach told me I'm a young coach, man. I need to bring the energy every day, man. I said no problem.
We're gonna talk about that. I'm not ready to say something. We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
Don't
show. And cuz I'm gonna light you up after the show. Watch.
Summer Blevins, good to see you. Good to see you, Summer. I'm glad you're doing well. Good. I'm glad to see your comment. I hope your son's doing well at Charlotte. It's always good to see you up here on the show. That's for sure.
What's up, sis?
Yeah.
Nah, won't we supposed to go over there to eat breakfast?
That's right.
Yeah, I think he owe me a bet, something like that.
Sis.
So we go back here on Football Focus Weekly. We'll finish up the show real quick talking about the CFI Spring Showcase. And I'm going to stay solo on that. So we'll be right back here on WDRB Media, the voice of the community. All right, we're back. And to finish up the show real quick, I'm going to take a couple minutes to talk about the CFI Spring Showcase, which is next Saturday, May 18th. Registration will open at 9 a.m. Okay, the camp will start at 10 a.m. and will go until 12:30 p.m. It's going to be exciting. Over 200 kids are registered right now. Make sure you sign up. CharlotteFootballInsiders.com. Only $99. If you have questions, please send me a direct message, a DM on Twitter. I will answer your questions, and we'll try to get you, lined up as quickly as possible. As I said, the defensive line positions are sold out. We're getting close to selling out at quarterback. It's at West Mecklenburg High School. 30 colleges in attendance. We've had a couple more colleges reach out, say they want to come through. So we haven't updated that on the flyer, but it'll be a strong representation of college coaches. And I'll tell you this. I spoke with one college who asked me, was I going to charge them to come to Charlotte? And I said, absolutely not. There's no way I will charge a school to come here. So I don't know what other camps are doing, but colleges want to come to Charlotte because there's talent here. You guys see the guys that we write about on Prep Red Zone that are doing really good. Like Dallas Brandon, for example, at Independence. I think he just got a Notre Dame offer. Is that right, Big Eye? Let me put Big Eye on. Dallas?
He just recently picked up yesterday Michigan and Louisville.
Michigan, that was it. Michigan and Louisville. So that's the kind of talent.
And USC, and University of Southern California.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So, see, that's why he was ranked number one. See, all right. That's the kind of talent that's in Charlotte. That's why college coaches want to get here and scout the players that are here, because there are always players that are talented, but they not be, as promoted or known about as Dallas over at Independence. And there are some kids signed up that I'm excited to see. There's a 6'5", 240-pound defensive end coming from a school out east. And I looked at his profile, no offers. And I think that this kid is going to get an offer or two if he does well at this camp, because it's the physical frame, it's the athleticism. That's what they're looking for, those physical traits, along with the proven varsity film. Okay, that's what college coaches are looking for. So if your son has not signed up and he's available to come May 18th, I know there's track championships going on. I know that's why Coach Dub won't be there. He'll be trying to win another track championship from Mountain Island. But if you are available, please sign up. CharlotteFootballInsiders.com. We're going to end the show. We're going to let Coach Dub say something here.
Man, I just want to shout out my quarterback, Grayson Harvey. Grayson Harvey, I know there's a lot of senior quarterbacks, but I think he's at the top. Obviously, I coach him, but he has everything. He has a 4.3 GPA, weighted GPA. He goes just as hard in the classroom, He works extremely hard on and off the field. He's a yes sir, no sir kid. He's really a coach's dream. So I just think it's a matter of time before he gets that official offer, that committable offer. But definitely be on the lookout. Any college coaches out there, Grayson Harvey is one to look out for.
All right, there it is. That being said, this has been Football Focus Weekly with CFI here on WDRB Media. Make sure to tune in. Usually we're on Wednesdays, but we're on Thursday this week because of the storms. But every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. is when we film it. It broadcasts on Thursdays at 3 p.m. WDRB Media on the Apple app, iTunes. There's other ways to listen to it live as it plays on the radio. So make sure you check that out. But once again, WDRB Media, CFI Football Focus Weekly. We're here every week talking high school football in Charlotte, the Carolinas, and beyond. Make sure you keep it locked into the best high school football sports show around. Thank you for the comments from everybody. Good night. We'll see you next week.